Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Smash in Session, and of course we have a guest. We got Gims, the scientist, the Smash scientist himself. If you guys have been liking the content you guys have been seeing so far, make sure to give a just drop a sub, like, and of course ring that bell, and of course check out GimR's YouTube as well.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my man has been dropping some goated content since the drop, man. So it's so good. But recently, of course, he had that Pyro one that came out. Pretty good stuff. I love the footstool on the platform. Like, just to see that it covers so many options is insane. Because I was even telling, I've been getting some footstools on platforms, but I didn't realize it covers so many options right there. And so I knew it covered a couple, but now knowing that, it's like, dude, I should just pretty much be going for that, 9 times out of 10, right? Unless there's a specific option I see my opponent lean towards. So it's always good to see videos like that, man. So
you want to know another trick with their side B?
Yes.
There's the air and the grounded version.
Yes.
So
the grounded one. When you do grounded
this is probably stuff that I feel like this is going to be late level game, like when players get really good at it. But you know what tech lock is, right? Where you can't tech if you press R at a certain time.
Wait, why?
Ultimate,
afterwards,
right?
Ultimate,
if you're in tumble, you can just
hold that's
R.
right.
Yeah.
But if you're not in tumble, if you press R too early, you can't tech for 12 frames.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, on the grounded version, if you do it right above the ground, they can't react to the footstool. They have to guess that you're going to do the footstool, right? So if you just time the footstool a couple frames later, they'll press R to tech when they think you were originally going to do it. And then they'll be locked out and they can't tech it.
Oh my goodness!
So you can get the jab.
If you do the super early one, right? The super early.
The super early one is so quick that you can't react to the footstool. So you gotta know.
Okay.
So if you trick them into thinking you're gonna do that,
happening to a lot of people I've been playing because I do that. I always try to go for the super early footstool.
Yeah. So when people say why aren't people teching that? I actually think that's why. I think they're trying to time it for the early one, and the person accidentally does it later, and it locks them out from being able to tech.
Yeah. They need the killer instinct sound effect that says lockout, when you hit the wrong button when you're getting combo. They need that lockout. That would be so good, dude. Some sort of indicator like that.
That'd be hype. And then you're like, oh, you're about to get cooked.
Well, that's we're kind of talking about it, and you're not even sure if that's what they're doing, even if that is the final outcome. Who knows if they even, for sure know what they're doing. Maybe they just think it's good timing. People are missing the tech because it's a new character. Yep. There's a lot of options there. So it's really cool. It's really, really cool.
No, have you seen the one on early percent view? You can go for the footstool. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Pass.
No, I was just gonna say Smash in general, throughout its history, the way the game presents its tech to you, it's always been very low key. They, the way they phrase things, we have our own terminology and they have their own terminology and everything. So it's just interesting how different the official terminology and the way they present things are compared to how us as a community we break things down.
It's unshuffling.
That's actually how I make most of my money, because whenever the patch notes come out, I just translate them. That's all I do. This is what that means.
It's crazy. It's a neat thing though. It really is.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was gonna say for the good stuff too, for Blazing End Footstool. When you at certain percents, you can actually get them right when they're about to land, and so you get the grounded footstool instead, and then that's when you get that guaranteed dare
down air. Yeah, why does that work?
Dude, I love
down air.
It's kind of stuff that you theory craft with characters, and it just doesn't work.
Broken, dude. It's I get grounded footstool dare, and the imagination sick.
Into auto
her dare is so stupid. I hate her down air.
When dreams come true, dude.
But down air, her forward tilt too.
It's such a nasty move.
Oh, forward tilt.
I don't
you boost that? Does she slide fire when you boost it?
Forward tilt? I don't care about that.
The hitbox is ridiculous.
The hitbox is ridiculous. Okay, hold on. So it's -9 on shield,
which is crazy for a poke.
So you got to think about moves that are that safe on shield, for it to have that big of a hitbox, and it has so much shield pushback that if you time it poorly, you're out of most characters' grab ranges automatically. And then on top of that, it has so much shield stop that you can just react. You're just oh, they're this far away, I'm going to go for this set play.
With all those factors, she might as well be in frame advantage.
Yeah, basically.
It hits so hard how far away she could be.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
she has 8 moves that shift to her box. So even if it's like a frame 10 grab that could get her, you can just frame 1 up smash, frame 1 side B. She's just like, I'm out. Like that grab.
She leans back. Yo, she's on
like
the Fat
this.
Joe tip, bro. She'd be leaning back on so many things. It's ridiculous. Like it's
even her
so
down air,
it's
she's
so
like
nuts,
she goes like this in the air.
Yeah.
She's just like, no.
Dude, even for initial side B and stuff, like, dude, shit. She just has a lot of moves where she just slides up real quick and then just dodges everything, man.
Yeah.
What I do think is funny is how much we've talked about Pyro so far. When
I know.
Mythra is still clearly the better character.
I know, right?
Like Mythra is still clearly better, but Pyro just has all the cool stuff that you want to lab out.
Yeah.
That cheap damage, those 1-2s that do like 27%, just like really quick.
Yeah, the side B does 26 to 30, depending.
Yeah.
That's a
And
lot.
tech chase or sometimes guaranteed damage. Like, yes, please. Obviously, I know a lot of us are always interested in like the lab rats of the world and all the Smash in general, right? There's so many little like nuanced interactions and stuff too, and a lot of cool tech that you can find just to overall, like whether it's boosting your movement, just like covering options, getting damage, like option selects too. There's like so many in this game, right? As well, but it's crazy because there's a lot of times when we have either tech that is found or that's like incredible, and we could just not see it. And I think in a lot of other fighting games, there's a lot of I think there's varying levels, right? But I feel like that happens more in Smash, especially from like Brawl onward, than like other traditional fighting games. Like it's crazy how much tech sometimes I feel like just doesn't get used. Like what are you guys' thoughts on that? I always think that's insane to me. Just coming from Smash Labs, from Smash boards, it's coming to now. I remember I used to go into character boards all the time, like, hey bro, Lucario has an option select, like jab, grab, like if someone goes for spot dodge or anything, they're like, dude, I don't care. Like why would I like actually Lucario's the only ones cared. Everyone else didn't care about anything like that or frame traps or like that's not
I think you forgot about Sonic and Brawl. They had
I'm a Sonic main, so I definitely didn't forget about Sonic and Brawl. The main people farming tech for that.
Y'all had a name for everything he did. It's like drift forward. Remember, Brawl had so little tech. Well, it had tech, but like character specific tech. That, like even Ganon's name down here, the Thunder Stomp, just auto canceling his down air was the Thunder Stomp.
That was so good.
Thunderstorm,
Brawl, which was funny.
Yo, Flight of Ganon though, that's one of the most godlike techs I've ever seen in a game. Flight of Ganon. Have you seen Flight of Ganon?
No, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yo, why that was in the game, I have no idea, but that was one of the sickest things ever.
For all the people watching on YouTube right now, Melee had so much advanced technique, and so many people that got into Melee didn't discover anything, discovered stuff in Brawl, and then they got the naming rights, and it went all over the place, man.
It got pretty ridiculous.
Sonic had like 12, like literally like 50 tech names, and it was like drifting your side B backwards, like, and that like had a name for it and stuff, and it was just
usually named after the player themselves is typically how it went. So you had no idea at all what the hell it was.
Nope.
Okay.
And I think that was actually a problem with tech as well, because I feel like sometimes some of the tech that was actually useful and significant in the game, it got lost in the sea of other, like, remember we call them ATs, right? The advanced techs, like all the billion ATs, like of BCDBC, back dash forward, like look at someone, press F tilt, like bro, like I can't even. And then you had actual option selects, and then they wouldn't use them because everyone's just like, it's random stuff that I don't need, and so that tend to happen a lot, man. And it's like it's crazy.
Well, we got reverse aerial rush out of that.
Yeah, you did.
RAR is good. Dacus is on the fence.
Good on the tongue, but reverse aerial rush tells you nothing about what it is.
Yeah.
What about Dacus?
Dacus was cool.
Dacus sounds dumb. Dacus, in my opinion, sounds dumb, but it's a great explanation of what it is. Dash attack, cancel, up smash. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do that.
Yep. I know what that is, actually. Yeah. I have an idea of what that is without even seeing what that is. I have an idea of what that does. Maybe.
That was in Smash 4.
Insane.
Yep.
Oh yeah, also
and then when
3DS
vectoring,
it like on the second patch.
Vectoring was a bad one. Vectoring was bad. I did not like vectoring. DI, directional influence, makes perfect sense. What?
The name or what it was?
The name.
Vectoring.
The name. It did not.
Yeah, it was weird. It didn't make sense.
It did, but it's like, well, we already have DI. It's like, no, this is a different thing. It's like, but it's still, it was just clashing terminology, I think.
You should have called it like slingshotting.
Yeah, something not
slingshotting.
Yeah, something not.
Sounds like
not
Young Link Tech.
Right? Definitely not that.
I think one of the bigger issues going forward, like in terms of like how much tech we have, right? I think in Ultimate, a lot of people will say it's probably the game with the least amount of tech, and I think that's just like a general trend as Nintendo pushes forward. Most techs in previous Smash games are because of an exploit of something not coded right. That's like usually the reason for it, which is why I think Nintendo tries to they took out Dacus. Like there's been tech in the game, they're like, oh snap, whoopsie, and then they'll take it out, which is even why like some of the stuff with Steve, there's people found out tech where like while you're doing the redstone, you ignore unit collision and then he can do a bunch of funky stuff. I think that is going to get taken out of the game because that's like literally Nintendo messing up the code where it's like, oh, Steve is like doing this action and he ignores this like base game mechanic, right? But it just feels like the general amount of like general movement tech, right? Like when you look at like the most technical Smash game, Melee, there is a lot of generalized tech. Like you need to do this to play the game, and like there's a very few amount of characters that can like kind of ignore it, but you still kind of need it, right? Like you could kind of argue that like, well, you can argue that Puff like doesn't wave dash as much as like a Fox or something, right? But it's like you still need to be able to do it to play at like top level. Whereas I feel like Ultimate, like Perfect Pivot is a perfect example of like in Smash 4 you had dash back, you had ultimate dash back, but you had the perfect pivot to do it, right? So you could like you could move your character like a dash distance and do a tilt, which in ultimate you can do, but you just flick the stick and you dash, right? So they like take away perfect pivot, but they make it like universal to everybody. So I think ultimate there's tech in the game that's like I think it's worth going for, and there's even some universal ones like kind of depending on the matchup you're playing. But like it's not as universal anymore. I think the most universal one that I can think of off the top of my head is the one GimR found, where when you have no double jump, you can just like spam or hold jump and Phantom Footstool. But like again, that doesn't work on like certain archetypes like swords and stuff like that. But like when you're playing against a Mario, you should never get juggled off the top kind of deal, right?
Yeah. So I think Ultimate One has so many different types of characters that there is no universal tech anymore. Kind of like you just said. Like it's just.
Yep.
Like you can get really good tech that's really awesome, but it only works on half the top tiers and not the other half. And that's kind of what makes making videos, at least for me, kind of difficult, because I'll find something and it's really good on like Joker, and then it like doesn't work on any of the other top tiers. And I'm like, is there any reason for me to put this out?
Right.
I know Joker's like considered the best, but you know, are you going to really put time in for this one piece of tech? But I mean, that's where I think the meta is going to go, though. I think it's kind of like that 90-10 split, where like 90% to be really good, and then the amount of time it takes to get that 90% is the same amount of time it takes to get from 90% to 100%. And I think people just aren't there yet. They're still trying to get to that 90% before they push that other stuff. Because like there's a ton of tech I have that I want to make videos about and stuff that I think is like really good, but players are still trying to figure out how to play the game. Yeah. So it's like they'll eventually start adding like even with Phantom Footstooling, right? It's like it's really good against Mario, but people don't yet completely change their game plan around a single matchup. Like they do change in like really important ways, obviously, their game plan, but like purposely burning a double jump is not something someone normally does. It's pretty scary to do that, but it just works against Mario. It just works. The only way he can stop it is to come from the side with like a back air, which is not easy to do. Like right when you're like coming down. So, but as the meta progresses, people are just gonna start doing it against Mario. Like, and even though they only play Mario like once every 3 tournaments, since there's so many good characters in this game for some reason. But yeah, just stuff like that. I mean, like I have just so much like really cool tech, but it's like 5 characters can do it, and it works on half the cast. So, or it's so like it's universal, but like every matchup it's different slightly. So like, how do I show that? Like that's what like millions of possibilities if you do the math. I don't know.
Just too many, man. Yeah, that is a big thing. I think ever since like you talked about like really when it comes to like global mechanics and like tech that like really enhances some of the global mechanics, like Melee of course has a ton of them, right? And I think that's also a reason. That's one of the reasons why too. Like you can understand how like top players can kind of like in Melee can pick up kind of any character and just kind of jam people because they have to have a great understanding of like the universal, right? And then also like there's on top of that, there's a lot of like tech that you can learn that deal with the global mechanics that just make you that much better. So like that top player's Ness or that top player's Mario or whatever is just moving like just that much more crazy than anyone else, you know? But like, yeah, it's for sure harder in like Ultimate. And yeah, tech is definitely going to be a bit more of that, like you were talking about, GimR, that 90 to 100% versus being part of that encompassing like getting you to that 90%. Or maybe it's a 80-20, right? And it's getting to that 80%. And then from there, it's getting that tech. But I still think there's a lot of really good, useful ones that we'll see in time. I mean, we have so many matchups in this game. There's so much nuances too, that it's just going to take a while to get there. But I'm hopeful that we'll see a lot of that coming soon, man. Like, but I want to ask you guys, like, what is the tech that you kind of like think about that, like, what immediately comes to your mind that you're like, wow, people should have been using this yesterday, but I still don't see it enough, and I feel like that could be really relevant now. You know, given where the skills level that everyone's at right now, is there any particular tech that initially jumps out to you guys on that?
For me, it's the GimR, the one that he went over, like with the double jumping, because there's like a lot of characters that don't have swords, right? Like when we're thinking about a general like what tech to use and what's the generally most applicable, obviously, you know, it's kind of a meme. There's a lot of sword fighters, anime sword fighters, right? But like there's a lot of characters that don't have swords. So, and like obviously you're not always gonna just like force your double jump and always go high, but it's always nice to have the feeling of like, okay, I'm holding my double jump, but if I want to force a juggle situation and he's like coming in on me, I can like force it and I still have Phantom and like maybe even get him to overextend or something, right? And like and if you go for that double jump, you don't even have to go for the Phantom. You can still like do other things, right? So it's like I feel like so much people when they're looking at tech, they're like, they see the tech, right? Because this like 1-for-1 happened with when GimR posted it. GimR posted that tech. Is the Phantom Footstool tech, right? And then everyone just started shitting on it, and it was just like the weirdest thing ever. Because I was like, wow, this is so good. And then everyone's just like, wow, you're gonna burn double jump on purpose? Like, wow, what if they just like position horizontally here? It's just like when someone comes out with a tech, it's not like, hey, do this and win. Like, no, the whole like the baseline of what tech is, it's like if you work a little harder, you can have this little edge of having additional option. I feel like so much people just like automatically like some tech comes out and they're like, well, you can just beat it like this, and it's like, well, duh, it's a fighting game. Like there's no unbeatable strategy. That wouldn't be fun, right? Like that's the whole point of what makes fighting games fun is there's like all these different
like
options and
getting another option. And just like also people need to realize that someone just drifting around in Ultimate is hard to hit. Like even if they don't air dodge. Like it can be hard to hit somebody if you don't get a read on their drift. So having that extra like, oh, and if I don't space this perfectly, they're gonna jump off me. Adds another layer to it. I will say though that was partially my fault. Are you guys still there?
I was just gonna say, just me or did GimR's
you're frozen free. Yes,
you're frozen in time.
You're definitely lost in time.
Frozen in time.
But, that was partially my fault because I hyped that up way too much as game changing meta.
No, but it like
I don't
know. When I saw it, I thought it was really good.
I honestly think it is for sure. Like I think that it's something that like we still don't see enough. I mean, footstoling in general as a defensive mechanic, even all the way back in Brawl, like we didn't see it nearly enough, you know. But I think like the added like the addition of stuff that you were talking about, like and just like making it where we're like, oh, I can just hold this jump and do this, like that.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I came up with it in Smash 4, but in Ultimate they added the 4 frames of invul.
Yeah, that's the part that's insane.
So that like makes it actually like decent because you can like jump off swords sometimes, which is kind of stupid. But if I were to for your question, tech that I don't think people use enough, I would say there's one option select that I think some people do use, and it's a double tap fast fall. So basically like doing an aerial, and then if they don't get hit by it, immediately fast falling because you're assuming that they probably air dodged. I was in Fatality stream kind of trying to like coach him through it because he was doing all these like combos, And I was like, yo, why don't you just try to do up throw, up air, and then just buffer the fastball, thinking that the up air is going to whiff. And he did that, and he had his like CPU set to air dodge, and he was like destroying the CPU when they air dodge, because you barely, like, it gives you like 10 more frames of advantage since you're not reacting to it whiffing. So you're like automatically getting the fastball. And like a lot of characters actually have frame traps all up throw, but they always react to see if it hits, and then the person air dodges through them, and by the time they fastball, they land at the same time. But if you double tap down, so like you fastball either way, like if you react to the air dodge, you can actually like destroy people. Like Byleth can do this with her up throw, and like being up thrown and like being in a frame trap situation in Ultimate's terrible.
Yeah,
air dodges are terrible in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can and you just practice it enough, you can like run over forward smash people. Like as long as you like get your muscle memory ready to react to every type of air dodge, like just stuff like that's really good. And you just start forcing people to take the hits. But like taking a hit off an up throw can be bad. I mean, like
like I really like that one. I agree with that. I think in general, like I wasn't thinking of that specific, but like I think that's amazing. But yeah, I think hit pause like option selects are just like so like underutilized in Smash. Especially with some of the varying degrees of some of the hit pause in this game. Like it's just like it's so good, right? In certain situations where it's like, why are you waiting? Why are you losing those extra frames? Especially in Smash, where like even when it comes to like comboing a character or doing kind of things, there's a lot of things like you have to optimize. Like I need a fast fall right now so I can get the max frame advantage, so I can extend this combo and do these things. And a lot of times, you do see a lot of people like they kind of wait, they try to react and stuff, and sometimes that works for certain things, but maybe you get the combo there, or maybe you get some like you can still kind of react, but like those frames are precious, bro. Like they're so precious when you're trying to combo or you're trying to chase someone, especially when you have that one air dodge. Like someone needs, they gotta go, right? Like if they air dodge, they gotta go in this game.
Especially with Falcon, dude, he's just designed to destroy air dodges. He always has been, you know what I mean? So even frame trapping with up throw, up air, just his up air is typically his most common like juggling tool and just keeping you at disadvantage. So having the ability to have a little more wiggle room when it comes to what you can punish, I think that could really open up the game for him. I think too the IA or the instant double jump is another big one that I've seen. I've watched the video on like 4 times, and I still am not 100% sure how to implement it into my game. But the video makes a pretty strong stance for how impactful it can be to a lot of characters, if not pretty much every character in the game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Instant double jump is like such a funny thing to think about, because it came from, Ultimate creating this new global mechanic where instant aerials are performed via with a short hop, and then now we're like forced to like work around that so we can do like an instant like full hop like aerial, which is like crazy. That's something we have just been like doing, but we had to like create this whole new tech for it.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious, right? Like, but it's like, yeah, you're
fighting against the system,
we really have to, like, it's
like,
dumb.
It's just, it's like funny though, because like I'm really hoping that like it's probably isn't gonna happen, but if it were to ever happen where they make it so you can actually toggle that option, like what that would mean for like the entire meta, and like if other characters will like have like their own like Captain Falcon moment where like it benefits them. I mean, I'm sure it would, like, definitely, but
like half jump into double jump and off, like those are the options.
Dude, that would be amazing, man. It's crazy, dude. Like even in the video, right? He shows his like Byleth like 57% combo, because due to instant double jump, like I can do IDJ and nairs, and I can chain that around into a bear. And then now with the buffs. Yeah, on Polarity, it's like
the Mario one is insane, dude. Full like rising up air is just ridiculous in Mario. It's so crazy.
Imagine if you could full hop and instantly do an aerial, dude.
Hey, that's too much.
That's literally what IDJ is.
You're asking too much.
Advanced tech.
You're asking too much.
You do it. I mean, turn on tap jump, right? You can do that.
True.
That's hard though. Getting back air and forward airs, like. You got to get like your GameCube controllers shaved down to get that angle.
Yeah, it's super wonky, man. It's weird. Look, one thing for me, I really think the option selects out a parry, right? I think the ones
I was thinking that too.
Special, yeah, those ones I think are really, really good. I don't think those are.
tight.
Yeah, I think the
really
counter
good one out of parry.
Yes.
Well, not a good one. Just the main thing about parry is that it holds your input, right? So like even if it's like a 50 frame parry, whatever you press, it makes you do it.
Yeah.
Except for things that can't be buffered. And the things that can't be buffered are, let me think, what can't be buffered? Shield and crouch. I think those are the two main things that you can't buffer. So what I like to do, me and Apostle, we live with each other. We play every once in a while. We've been trying to add extra tech. So I like to run in and I like to go for a parry and then immediately shield. Because if you mess up, there's only a 5 frame window they can hit you. Because no, wait, is it set? Wait, let's see. 11 frame shield drop, 5 frame parry. So there's only a 7 frame window they can hit you.
6,
if you're holding shield. Yeah, you're right. 6. If you're holding shield. So, but parries have so much, like offline, parries have so much lag that you can hold shield, react, and then drop it so you don't get the shield, and then actually punish with your parry option. So it's basically a way to double tap shield to protect yourself if you mess up the parry, and only give them 6 frames to punish you, unless obviously they do a grab.
Yeah.
But
you know who loves doing this?
Like
you know who loves doing this, dude?
Love doing this.
Yes, and America's favorite TO, Bear. Bear. So Bear actually loves doing this because
the shield flicker.
Yeah, he loves the shield flicker because he's so bad at timing parries. But then, like, it's so good. Like, it's actually really good. It's very, very good.
And it kind of covers 2 options, right? Because if you don't get the parry and then they have that 6 frame window, you're going to get a shield afterwards. Or I think too, it's the multi hits too would work as well, right? Like if you parry and then let go of it, multi hits would go through and hit you, right? Depending on what you do, I guess during that.
No,
parry,
you get the shield out.
You would just shield
because remember that's 3 frames of extra lag no matter what. So you'd be able to shield before this next hitbox could hit you.
Yeah, it depends on the type of multi-hit, but
that's true.
A lot of general ones that you can just go parry. And then if you're a Greninja, then you can do his special parry where he can just continue. He can parry even shorter refresh rates.
With parry multi-hits, something I've realized from playing Apostle all the time because he plays PT is that like if you play a matchup enough, you'll just start to realize when you parry that you have to shield again. Like you're just like you got the matchup, you know that they're coming down with a multi-hit, and your brain will just be like, hold shield, this isn't gonna work. Sometimes you even get the double parry, which is pretty cool. But one thing I wanted to bring up, something I realized is that because of the trash C-stick mechanic,
very bad.
People actually aren't moving as fast.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Like, what is the trash shield mechanic? Because everyone.
So basically, C-stick affects your drift, or your actual control stick input, which it didn't do in previous Smash games, except for like maybe weird circumstances. But so up to 4 frames. That's why like when you accidentally forward air out of shield, you fly forward. Doing a forward air in place is like you're a god if you do that in Ultimate.
Oh my god!
Basically, so another interesting mechanic that a lot of people don't know about is if you do an aerial in the air, you automatically go back into slow fall. So if you hold down and you hit the C stick, but also holding down during a C stick flick makes you go into fast fall. So what people don't realize is when you like do like a full hop and you do a fast fall aerial, because you're holding the C stick, you don't fast fall for 4 frames. So you have to flick the C stick to actually get a real fast fall. So people aren't actually
you can't hold it.
They can, but like with certain characters like Byleth, this allows you to do things like if you flick the C stick instead of hold it, the fast fall will start sooner. So you can with like a short hop forward air, it's either short hop or full hop, but you can get the forward air like a perfect fast fall forward air, like 3 or 4 frames faster, which like you can't do normally. You just can't do it unless you know about this and you're like going really hard for it. And that's kind of what I mean when I say people aren't moving as fast as they can. And 3 frames might not seem like a lot, but for certain aerials, like especially out of short hop, it's hard to fast fall them and get them to come out like perfectly safe.
Yeah.
So
you said Byleth. There might have been Belmonts too. like getting their aerials out and spacing them and making sure that you get the correct timing. Because if you can't do that with them, it sucks. It hurts them a lot if you're not mashing their fair and their bear.
Sephiroth, that helps Sephiroth a lot too. Getting those proper bears. Like it's super, super important. But like, yeah, I agree. Like it's crazy that a lot of people don't recognize how many frames are being lost a lot of times when they're doing when they're trying to go for like either a combo or setups or even like just for making things safe, right? Like just making something actually safe and like rather than sometimes people are just like, oh, well, I saw the numbers, so this is supposed to be safe. It's like, actually, these people aren't doing it safe at all because they're not actually getting the proper fast fall, but you're disrespecting it. So like they're just getting away with this stuff for free when it's like, you can actually challenge people here. And then it's like, if you're actually doing the thing, then maybe you actually get more pressure that you can apply for sure. So I definitely think that's a big one. I think also
save the frames, man.
Yeah, dude, save the frames.
You got them.
Yeah, like so, like also too, Charles brought up a good point too on like the parry option select for people who don't know, like you can either do go into time the parry, right? Or if you don't get the parry, then you'll go into shield drop, and then at any point from that shield drop, you can cancel it with a jump. So you can do an aerial or do whatever you want to do there, right? And then what you can do is like if you do get into parry, you'll go into the buffer, right? And because you go into the buffer, you'll it will do whatever you do before then. So you can actually hide like a special or whatever in between that and the jump that would happen. Yeah. And so you'll be able to do that special move as a parry, right? So you can do like Wario parry like waft, and then like if you don't get the parry, then you'll just jump and you can do aerial or whatever you want to do. But Charles was talking about the counter one, which is really good too, and that's like abusing two things, right? Just that parry option select, but then also going in and recognizing that in this game, when you do parry a character's moves, even though you parry it and the hitbox becomes inert, if you do a counter, it will activate again. So it's like you can get these parries without having to guess. And it's like for certain characters, like that's busted, right? It's like, dude, there's my kill option. Like you hit me at like, I'm gonna guess you do this here, and if you don't, then I jump back and I'm good. And if I guess right, then guess what? You got blown up by freaking Arsene counter. Yeah, or Sephiroth counter, and like what's real good, son? And you're done. Yeah. Like it's super, super strong, man. But yeah, like we don't see that stuff a lot enough, especially with some of these moves that are really powerful punishes. People talk about Jigs doing that stuff all the time too, and how strong that can make like her in that kind of scenario. But like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that's like, dude.
You want to hear another one that like MKLeo actually does, and I'm fairly certain Zachary does too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
This one's really simple that everybody should be doing. Basically, like when you go for an aerial, just dashing away. Because if the aerial whiffs, you'll dash away, and if it hits their shield or hits them, the dash won't come out. Yeah. But a lot of people do the aerial and they react, and they just sit there standing, and like they're letting themselves get whiff punished by standing there, basically. And you can do the same thing with like shield.
Right. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, and even like for all the viewers, right? Like they might not know why, right? And it's because of hit lag, right? Like whenever you hit something in Smash, there's some type of lag. There's like an amount of frames where it's like lagging a little bit, which is why there's different fastfall timings and all that stuff. So it's like, I think the funnest thing about tech is like learning application. And I think that's something that we all wanted to like talk about. Obviously, GimR's been doing this for a long time. I remember I used to like watch GimR's videos in like high school when I was competing in Brawl.
Hell yeah, dude!
And I was like, I can beat Meta Knight Tornado. I can beat Meta Knight Tornado if I like perfect shield and then do this. Like it. So it's like you have to find the tech, but like you already saw throughout this whole podcast, right? Where we're literally like, we talk about a tech, but then we also have to bring in the base game mechanics. So fully understanding the base mechanics is so important. And even even if you hate it, like I hate things like hold buffer and stuff, but you got to know how like the game works and all the game physics combined, right? And then on top of knowing that, you have to know, like, you have to have a background or at least like knowledge in competitive Smash, right? Like you can find tech, but like it's like, okay, how good is the risk reward? And even like these option selects we're talking about right now, it's like very low risk, but like either moderate or high reward, right? Like, oh, so I'm fishing for an Arsene counter, and if they don't swing, I jump backwards, right? Like that's just that, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to understand like competitive risk reward, and you also have you pretty much have to understand like almost every aspect of the game, which is what I think finding applicable tech, like that's what makes it so fun, and like it feels so rewarding when you're like, yo, I found this tech, and it's like I can see top players using
it's actually
it in X
useful.
amount of time.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's like it's
100%.
balancing low risk, high reward, and also trying to push the game mechanics as hard as you can against your opponent, so you don't have to play them. It's really like I mean, obviously at the end of the day, you always have to play your opponent, but if you can set up situations where you win 80% of the time, if you can get this situation set up and the situation itself is low risk, then you don't have to be better than your opponent. If you set this up, you don't have to always be reading them and knowing everything that they're going to do, which is kind of like that's just also depending on the type of player you are. Some players just play the opponent. That's all they do. They know exactly what everyone's going to do, and they destroy them, and they just go for the optimal punish for what they know you're going to do. And then other people push the game as far as they can. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to push the game. You can't completely rely on your natural skill and reading people, because eventually people are going to start really pushing the game against you. Just want to give a shout out to Didi. Like when I first saw him play, because he's a new kid, right? Like maybe he did play Smash 4, but like he didn't come into Ultimate with a Smash 4 mindset, and like you can see it with the way he plays. Like he's treating this game like its own game. It's its own game. And honestly, I've seen, even though it's online, I'm seeing a lot more people do that.
Yes,
like
I agree. I completely agree with that.
Like Smash 4,
which is so important. And I think I'm feeling it when I play now too. I'm like, this is different. Like the pacing is different. I think is the biggest thing that I kind of feel when I play now. It just feels different. But I think that kind of comes back to like how Bam kind of opened this. Like, why does so much tech get discovered in Smash? And I think honestly, combination of the roster is freaking huge. Like that's one thing. So you have so many people playing competitively, and honestly, people playing casually too can contribute to this, because sometimes there's a weird interaction. They see it, they capture it, and say, "What the hell happened?" And then that data kind of gets integrated into our scene, and we digest it and figure out what to do with it. Right? That can happen. Like maybe a Dacus was performed by some casual by accident, attacking an item or something. That's possible. But unlikely, but it's possible. But there are just so many people playing this game, and so many people trying to find the edge. And I think that's what GimR's kind of talking about. Like you could be so good at Smash, like you could be so good at playing against another person and playing against their character. But if they have this little edge over you, this little movement option, or this little combo extender that you've never really seen before, since they only need to take 6 stocks from you in a 2 out of 3 set to beat you, that could be that could determine the set, or even a best of 5. Like if you can't adjust or adapt to tech that you've never seen before, that could be it. And that's why people are always doing the shit. They're always looking for an advantage when it comes to competition. They want to get good, obviously, at the base game. Everyone wants to do that though. Like that's not an exception. Everyone wants to go for sick reads and dunks and like all that shit. But doing the tech, that's a little different. Not everyone wants to do that stuff. I think eventually once it's developed and it's shown that it'll have results attached to it, people will jump on board and start learning the tech. But to really be a pioneer and really dedicate time to shit that you don't really know if it's going to work out or not, and kind of hang your hat on that's more adventurous. And I think that's some of the cool shit about Smash is like they create these enormous, ambitious sandbox fighting games. They don't know what's going to happen when they put all these things together. How the hell should we know? But we have so many people playing, and so many smart players and content creators and all this stuff kind of analyzing the game and just honestly playing and looking at how things look or how things work, and just kind of breaking it down. It's just so interesting. I think it's one of the most interesting things about Smash that's cool, because when I first learned about tech, it was the same thing. I started playing Brawl, competitively, or Melee even competitively. How do I get better at this game? And, you see everyone moving in this crazy way. You're like, how the hell do they do that? And you look up, what is, the classic, what's a wave dash? And you go from there. It's like, all right, I know how to wave dash. I want to do more. I want to go beyond, I want to feel powerful when I play this character and feel cool and do all these awesome things and kind of be the best version of myself. And I feel like Smash in that way, and fighting games in general, honestly, or any games in general, like learning the advanced tech, it's a whole part of the experience of finding success in anything. This expands the competition beyond video games. This goes into sports and everything else. Like the best tech. How do I run 40-yard dash the best? What's the tech? Like what is Usain Bolt doing that I need to work into my plan?
Right,
and it's just really cool. It's such an important competitive and life skill, honestly, to be able to do that.
Like to piggyback off what you're saying. Like anyone who's like discouraged about like you're wasting your time with this, I would just say that like if you're like taking notes on what you're doing to get better and like actually like following your progress, you can take what you've learned and apply it to learning anything. And that is a skill that will get you
very powerful skill. Learning to learn.
Best. Being coachable, man. Being coachable, be able to take advice or take direction and go with it. It's so important.
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
I mean, there's like also like a huge difference between, you got to learn how to execute the tech and everything like that, but also like when it's good, when to use it. Like you can't like become like multi-shine spammer and then just you're suddenly good at the game, like
the classic, which it's good to be able to multi-shine, but not if you don't know what the hell you're doing with it. Exactly. It's like I could drive a car 180 miles an hour. It's like, well, that's cool, but like, are you just gonna crash right into a wall? Yeah, you're just gonna, like, what the hell does that really do for you though? Like, that's
I would say that shining your way into a wall.
I'd say Void's approach it's probably the best, and what he does is like, when he's trying to add something to his game, this is something he said on his stream once when I was watching, is like, whatever it is, whether it's a specific matchup or whatever, he'll like practice it for 30 minutes and then he'll immediately, right after practicing it, play somebody in that matchup for like an hour or two and try to implement it, since it's friendlies, like it's not a tournament match. And basically, well, the reason he's doing that is the training session is to get it ingrained into his immediate muscle memory. So basically, like, this is the only thing I'm thinking about, muscle memory. But when you're in a match, you start getting pressured. You start getting in weird situations, so you can't access that muscle memory. So he's trying to force that muscle memory into those matches for 2 hours until it gets to a point where his body automatically reacts to the situation, and he just does the right thing that he's been trying to push.
Into the system too.
Yeah, I think that's so important too. Is the approach to friendlies kind of falls into this whole category as well. Is playing to learn is like, you need two modes. You need to be able to play. Trying to win in friendlies and that's your only goal is so cringe. Like, I can't even get over that. Like, it's just.
But obviously, ego.
I know, but that's the thing.
Bleeding ego.
God, I win these friendlies.
Oh no! There's sometimes where there are friendlies where I'm like, I'm going to work on my mentality here. I want to be behind. Like, let's see how I can play while this guy's camping me, with the stock lead. Like, that sucks. I don't ever want to be in that position. But you know what? Realistically, it's going to happen to me throughout my competitive career. So rather than avoid the problem and not want to deal with it in friendlies, it's something that sometimes I just do on purpose. Even on Elite, like, that's what everyone's talking about, how online is so different and it's so terrible, and like, it is different, but I think there's so much that you could still learn. Like, the game was so young when we kind of went into quarantine. I just think there's so much that you could personally gain from just playing and having the right outlook on the game. I think so many people lose on Elite, get pissed. I would never lose to this idiot in real life. Like, that would never happen. It's like, what does it matter? Who cares? Like, just keep playing. You just got to you're not going to get better if you get frustrated and you stop playing. You got to just keep going. And I think that kind of adds to GimR's point about Void, where it's like, on top of that, like, the next level is, here's the muscle memory I need if I even want to think about incorporating this tech into my game. And then I need to figure out how I can implement it. Friendlies, and then like, there's a second category, like seriouslies, where you like kind of put maybe something on the line, like losers out of rotation, so you care about winning, but it's still not the end of the world. And then tournament play. So money match is also good. Yeah, the shout outs to Korean DJ, of course, as always.
And something else I would say is, this is something I think a lot of people do, is like, you run into brick walls, you kind of start realizing your flow charting when you play. Like, you have this special period of time where you feel like you're like really like thinking, but then when you play, like, you keep practicing and like working really hard, and then all of a sudden you're like, you become a robot with your play. I would suggest, like, in friendlies, just handicapping yourself for a game or two. What I mean by that is, like, say, like, I'm not allowed to shield this game, something like that. It breaks your mind out of whatever like format
you think you should do.
You gotta have something to disrupt it, for sure.
I can't shield. And now you're like put into this, you're like backed into a wall, and you got to think differently.
I have to rely on movement for defense instead of shielding. Like, it forces you to be creative.
And something else I would suggest is, before you play, remind yourself every time to only look at your opponent.
Yes, that's so important. I agree. I literally did that this morning when I was playing. I totally agree. I totally agree.
There's too many people that go around and it's just like, look at me, especially when people learn like new tech. Like, they think that, like, oh, let me look at what I'm doing, right? Because I was studying, I spent this time, X amount of time focusing on what I'm doing. But you have to get to yourself to a point where it's like, you're looking at the opponent and based how the opponent's being, or like the situation that's happening there, that you instinctively understand, right? And it's just a natural extension of what you're seeing from them, reading that spacing and timing, because then you get an accurate depiction of why and when you should be doing things, versus just like, I'm doing me. Look at me go. I'm gonna do this now. Me. Like, you're not gonna be able to see the full breadth of what you learn.
if you're a person watching this right now and you think you have a really bad punish game, meaning like you let people get away with stuff, like whiffing forward smashes, it's most likely because you were looking at yourself, so you reacted late. That is like most likely what happened there. You weren't looking at them, so you saw it way too late, and you weren't able to punish it. In reality, you could have went in and just destroyed them if you were just looking at them and paying attention to what was going on.
Yes,
having that mental,
same thing.
And just having the mental awareness of like, if they forward smash, like it's like a reaction. Like you need to know, like if they whiff a forward smash, what am I doing? Like jump fair, like that's my, you know what I mean? Whatever your option is, and then.
I made a video about this too, but basically another thing you have to consider is the fact that you have your own personal reaction time, and there's lag in the game. So like when you see that move happen, it's actually already gone by because you just reacted to it. So like people also hesitate because they think they're going to hit by the move. It's like, no, it's gone. Just go and hit. Like, it's like when you see an air dodge, right? But the time you react to the air dodge happening, the invincibility's gone. Gone. You can hit them. But people wait because they're like, oh, wait, I got to wait for it. It's like, no, you can just...
No, swing at them.
Go get it. You don't have to wait for anything.
You got them, dude.
To me, too, the looking at your own character thing, I think it's a comfort thing as well, because I think that means you're not as comfortable with your character as you should be, because you should know where you are and where you're moving without really looking at your character, and where your pokes go, where your hitboxes go, and what you can do. Because the less, and I totally agree, I think the less attention you pay to yourself, the more you can pay attention to what your opponent's doing, maybe keep track of some habits that they have, and do some other stuff. But you need to, it's so true in so many of these, in so many games. I know that Charles plays WoW, but like a joke in WoW is like, if you have to look at your keyboard, like you're an idiot, basically. Like, why are you looking? You should know what's on your keyboard. Like, you should know the spells and the abilities that you need to hit. Same thing in Smash. You should know where you are, what your buttons do, and where it'll put your character and what that means exactly. And the less you look at yourself, probably the more success you'll have.
No, true. Definitely true.
True. That's a good point.
Yeah. Like, and so I know we talked a little bit like about Void, and obviously Void is someone that instantly comes to mind in terms of someone who is not only good at picking up tech and finding out tech himself, really trying to understand the underworkings of it, so he can also use that to level himself up to learn even more tech. But also he goes and studies in a way where he can, always about that application. Like, this guy will find this stuff out, be working on it, training, and you'll see. And like, if you watch, you could watch a stream, and then the following day he's in the tournament and he's trying to act it out and do it out and find out ways to do it, right? And it's always incredible to see. But I want to say, like, because I think it's very important, whatever you think of these players, like, to really recognize how these people shift the meta forward, right? So like, I just want to like, besides Void, of course, because Void is like instantly going to come to mind, all of us, like, who else do you think is really great at really bringing visibility to tech and just optimization, like, even just in general, just like proper combo trees that we need to see more, right, for these characters to really reach their full potential.
Just want to say Void again, right?
Yeah. I mean, Void was them 2-3 times. I mean, Charlie the King, right?
Charlie,
Yep. Zachary, absolutely. Zachary does a lot of stuff that people still don't use.
I'll tell you right now, Zachary's R.O.B is doing like 8 option selects a second. Like, that's actually
crazy.
The truth. If you like,
down.
You can't move that fast and do all that stuff on reaction. Like, he's just like, oh my god, like, he's doing like moving
using the
selects,
system.
He's doing down tilt option selects with R.O.B and stuff. Yeah,
he's another one that's playing Ultimate. He's getting away from that Smash 4 for sure. Him, big time.
Yeah, I love it, man.
He plays different.
I even like. Is Sephiroth? I remember when we had a clip of him in our Sephiroth video too, right? Where it's like he would use IDJ up air for Sephiroth, which is so good, right? Because that's the point when you're getting that auto cancel and you're able to actually chase afterwards if they go for an air dodge, and it's like he's someone that's like not just looking like, oh, IDJ combo, right? Like, oh, I can combo, right? But like, even in those situations for certain characters, like, certain moves were made in a way that they were meant to lag if you are going to do a short hop, or they're meant to lag if you do a full hop and you're not going to do it instantly, right? But then when you're able to do IDJ and do these aerials now, some of these aerials that are huge sweeping hitboxes because they accounted for the fact that you're not going to be able to auto cancel. Now you can auto cancel, right? And now you can freely, like, oh, you're in this general vicinity. give me that air dodge, right? Like, give me that air dodge and then give me your life, right? And that's what you can do now. And like, yeah, he's really, really good at implementing that stuff in that way too. Not just straight like, oh, this is what I saw from the source on like IDJ, but also like, I am now understanding how the tech works and how I can implement it in my general strategies in the game. And that's when you see someone like a special breed, right? Just same thing to Void, same thing to Charlie the King. Captain L is the one as well too. Very good at finding a lot of stuff and option selects and everything as well.
I think someone that doesn't get enough credit for this is MKLeo. I just think because he's the best in the game, it's like his Joker is actually like so fast and so cool. Yeah. Like, dude, you know how hard it is to get like drag down combos with this character off like falling forward air? That's hard to do. And he's just like, whoo.
Yeah, he left Obble too.
The jab lock on the platform with the gun. I remember that at Genesis. It's like all these like little things where it's just like, because like when you break that situation down too, it's like, okay, well if they do tech, right? Like by the time they tech, his gun lags over, he can continue the pressure. It's just like when you break the whole situation down afterwards, it's like, wow, that was like so good. Where you're covering multiple options with like mid to like high reward. It's just like it's so
in
good
the moment too. It's like like pulling that off in tournament is so hard.
Yeah, because that means he had to have practiced it like a ton before, right? Like because it's the whole like crawl, walk, run phase. Like crawling is training mode, walking is friendlies, and then running is tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, is doing things in tournament too. I mean, I think that's like the truest mark of a top player is like you can play in tournament like it's friendlies, because I think everyone is so godlike in friendlies when it's fun and just having a good time. There's no pressure. Once you add on those mental weights, you know what I mean? You get the Piccolo weighted armor and stuff on. It's so hard to do so much stuff, and it's like top players just it's all second nature.
That's why you got to practice so much. You got to practice until it becomes second hand.
It's so true.
Where you know you're at is when you go into a tournament match, because you'll start reverting immediately back to your like scrub tactics, because you're like, it's all I know how to do. I mean, this is why I theory craft, because I'm able, if I practice enough, to put it into my gameplay. It's just that I'm a little slower at it, as getting it into my muscle memory and stuff. So like I'm just gonna theory craft it and like let you guys have it.
Yep, shadow box, dude. I'm about that too, dude. Our pain, man. Yo, shout outs to Mighty Keith, dude.
That was like exactly me.
Oh man, that hurt my soul, dude. I was like, damn, bro, why you gotta?
Why am I getting called out?
Yeah, come on, man.
I'm vulnerable.
I mean, it has your action pretty good, so I can't.
Yeah. Shout outs to Paz, dude. Young Pazington, man.
The God.
The good God. Man.
So another thing I wanted to talk about is like, even so, like we touched up earlier on like application, right? And like people being like, oh, that's good enough, or no, that's not good enough for me to like put my time into it. You will only get to the point where your opinion on these kinds of things actually matter if you know about the game and you like know about the meta and you've like went through the process of trying certain tech out, and like it was like, oh, I put like X amount of hours into this, and like I tried to apply it, but like it just didn't feel like it was good enough, and then that's just like more information, stored up. And for us, we've been doing this for literally over a decade, so it's like we like, for the most part, everyone in this call can like look at a tech and be like, ooh, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It's pretty like the process is pretty quick because we know the base game mechanics, like the physics of the game, and we know like competitive Smash, right? And even like these other top players, like even when I talk to Void, there's like so many times where it's like instant double jump, like what do you think about what she can, like you're able to squeeze, like essentially like it's like a quick breakdown. It's like I can squeeze out another nair after a fair, right? It's like, okay, so then I was like, okay, cool, so like what, mid percent setups? He's like, yeah, mid percent setups, like rising fair into like the drop nair into like a regrab or something like that. It's like once you know so much about the game, the tech comes in and you're just like, okay, so like I get an extra aerial while I'm coming down, so I want a rising aerial that sets them up for that drop area, right? It's like it all just kind of clicks into place, and it's just like, is this worth my time or is it not? And a perfect example was like when me and Void weren't like, or at the very beginning of Smash 4 when me and Void lived in Hawaii, it's like I even like when I started coaching him, I looked at all these players, I was like, if you're gonna beat these guys, like you're neutral, you're gonna get trashed, like you're just not experienced. And then me and Void literally like created like I made a training regiment for him, and I was like, well, if you're not going to beat them in neutral, like you're going to hit twice as hard as them, and you're going to learn this tech. And like I made him perfect pivot for like hours a day. You know what I mean? Like till his like hands hurt. And it's like so he got to the point with
well, look, that worked out.
Well, yeah. Dude.
And like when we were like, oh shit, that's a lot. It's like, oh well, actually, yep, that's what it takes. Fair enough.
Right, and then like he would do that while I was at work. I'd get home from work. I'd be like, okay, time to apply it, and then like I'd play him, and then I would have to go back to work, and then you know what I mean. Like we had this whole system, right? And it's like the rising of Void was based off of tech gameplay, and I like obviously I'm not trying to say like every other aspect about Void is like meh, right? But it's like when his come up, what made him like shine, or what he abused was his tech. And like there's two sides of the coin. There's a lot of players where you have so much experience, or you're just like that naturally good, where you don't need the tech. That's fine. Like, and like this whole podcast is not trying to say like, oh, you guys have to do tech, right? But it's like if you if you enjoy doing tech, it can be very helpful. And like there's even like people that made their careers, right? Like Void is a prime example of like perfect pivoting like made his career. And like literally like he would hit someone with Sheik, and like most Sheiks would just do the forward throw bouncing fish. Void would smack you up to 80. But like it was a struggle for him too. It was still a tug of war, because it's like Void would lose neutral so much comparatively to the other players, right? But it's like, oh, it didn't matter, because like I put so much time into this tech. Once I hit you once, like I'm doing like 5 times more damage than you. And like that was his niche. And obviously, you know, he's grown to like, you know, well-rounded to round himself out as a player now. So it's not the only thing he's known for, but like that's how he did.
I mean, that's not even niche,
I just think it's so cool.
I would say, because that's what Armada did.
There's a lot of players that did that, right?
They tend to say that that's really the big thing too. When you are playing a fighting game, right, and you're learning more and you're picking it up, right? Obviously, a lot of times, like neutral just comes like down to experience, right? Like, a lot of times, right? And so, like a lot of times, the thing that that takes time versus like combos and tech. Like you can do that, and you like if you can hit, like you said, if I do lose, you know, like. If 1 out of the 3, like, or like 2 out of the 3 neutral interactions, like I'm gonna hit you like as if like you got hit by 4, right? And like that's the biggest thing, like you said. Absolutely. I mean, you see it for even upcoming players who are trying to get good in Marvel or any other traditional fighter too. Like it's big to know like you got to have those B&Bs on deck. You got to have the hard hitting combos on deck on that, but for sure.
And again, it needs to be second nature. You just need to know. Like there's no time for you to really figure that out as you're, well, I guess you kind of can figure it out as you go, but the more consistent way, obviously, is just to kind of know. And I think, I mean, we're not even talking about, I mean, practicing combos and all of that stuff, and even tech is very satisfying because there's some reward to it instantly. I feel like practicing neutral or even honestly disadvantage is something I'm kind of obsessed with in terms of Smash or fighting games in general. It's like, how do you compose yourself and how do you handle being in that situation? It takes just as much knowledge, and honestly, probably the toughest part about being disadvantaged is like the mental grip it can have on you. Is you don't want to get scared because your opponent will read that and crush you, especially if they're a good player. But you don't want to be too bold because they can also read that and crush you. It's so hard, and I think it just, as a player, really says a lot about your game plan. All top players have incredible disadvantage states. They have to. If they don't, they're high level players like instantly because they're going to get crushed. They're just going to lose. It just doesn't matter. But it's never talked about because it's not, we've talked about it, I think, before on the show, but it's not like a sexy topic. It's not cool. It's not clippable. Yeah. You don't go, oh wow, that was a great, drift to the side, then fast fall to the right and air dodge in. Like no one cares about that. Like it's not a clippable thing.
Defensive sequence though.
It's decision making. It's keeping your head on straight. Like it's so many important things to actually being good at the game too.
It's thinking about the risk and reward of where you land.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Like, or taking a hit. This
is riskier, but they know I'm not going to go for it because it's riskier. So I'm going to land here where they could kill me, but they're not going to think I'm going to do that type thing.
Yeah, pick your poison, man. That's such a big thing. Such a big thing.
That was when people complain, I don't understand how people don't like Captain Falcon, because to me, he kind of embodies this whole concept of when he hits you, it's the worst. Like you might die. Like he's going to put you in a 50-50 all the time. But when you hit him, it feels so good to hit him. It feels amazing. So whenever I would watch Fatality, Nick C, all those great Falcons play, the thing I always honed in on was, how are these guys not dying? How are they living to 170? Like, how is this possible, Falcon? You should be easy to kill off stage for sure. So they have immaculate recoveries, especially now. I don't even know how long they're going to be living since you can't rock them anymore. That's just silly because they were living forever without that buff. So how are they living for so long, and how do they, not just get out of disadvantage, but turn it into their advantage? Because they do that a lot as well. And I think that's kind of the mark of great players, especially when they play characters who have shitty disadvantage states.
When they recover, they got like 80 different angles.
Yeah,
like they know your character spacing, so they recover right outside of they know what you're comfortable with doing with your character, so they learn that in the match, and then they start recovering right outside of that range because they know that you're not comfortable to reach that far, and then they mix it up with all right, I'm going to go close this time because I just went outside of your range last time. It is really cool, and it's something that's hard to put into words and hype up.
It's like hyping up defense, basically. You know what I mean?
I think I honestly, that's something I've been saying for a long time.
Yeah.
If the fighting game community is able to hype up defense as good as they do, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah. I agree. 100%. I think it's a cultural change. Yeah, I totally agree. Yes. I think that should happen. And I think Falcon is the perfect example of that. Who doesn't have a Falcon in here that thinks they're kind of nice when they hit someone? You know what I mean? Who can't hit those nice strings or the spikes or has done something satisfying with Falcon? Almost everyone has. Why aren't there that many top level Falcons? It's because when you get hit with him, it sucks. It's the worst. Getting hit as Falcon is it does not feel good at all. But they make it work, and I think that's the most impressive part, honestly, of their play.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I think that all in all, right, when it comes to tech, I think I would just love to see people just get more into it, man. And there's just so many little things here that, again, that it seems small initially, but when you start adding all these things up, all of a sudden you realize you just have that much more time to think, that much more time to apply your mental fortitude to decision making versus certain nuances that you really shouldn't be thinking about. Again, to GimR's point, right? Talking about these up air fast falls with the hit pause option selects. Dude, those things are just so good. Period. Just the idea of knowing that you can just,
right?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. You can just literally put inputs in that buffered window, right? Versus the buffer window that you would have if you actually get the hit. If you just do that, that alone covers so many things that you just don't need to apply to your brain and deal with. You don't need to think about that. I can think about the things that I really need to break down on my opponent, and so I can get the edge on them.
Yeah, and this also is one of those things that it'll make you better with every character. It's just the way it once you start doing things like that, and then reacting to people's air dodges and punishing hard, you'll pick up another character and you'll do something similar and they'll air dodge right, and before you used to hesitate, and you'll just run in and you'll destroy them with that other character. It doesn't we talk about a bunch of different matchups and all this other stuff that makes Ultimate hard, but every character still has the same tools in general. They have the same 15 frame dash where you can attack out of it. Right. Everyone can fast fall, everyone can XYZ. So it might seem overwhelming, but a lot of everything we're talking about just applies. It applies to everyone, and you can work it in a different way. It'll just require a different timing.
Yeah, I've said this too. You could see how people translate over. Whenever I watch Light, play another character, or Mars or whoever I know really well, and I'll watch them play randoms, or they're at a summit and they have to play some weird characters. I'm dude, this is the most ZSS looking ass Donkey Kong I've ever seen. He plays like ZSS. He plays the same way that he played. The character you learn the game from and how you look at the game. This is a whole nother world of discussion, especially in Ultimate, since there's so many freaking characters. All of us look at the game in a slightly different way just because of who we play and what our personal experiences are different. That's how tier lists are slightly different, mostly around the same, probably about 80%, about the same, but there's some just almost always wild call outs. And it's dude, because in my experience, playing this character has fucking sucked. And that to me just means that the character is better than other people think it is or not. So it's just, there's just so much to think about when it comes to your own personal experiences and how it affects how you look at the game and how you play it in general, honestly. What habits do you look for? What can your character punish hardest? That's probably what you're going to look for a lot.
No, for sure. So, I mean, guys, what are your final thoughts, man, on just tech in general and our scene at large, man, the Smash Ultimate community? What do you guys want to see? Is there, I know we kind of talked about before, certain tech you want to see, but for people who are watching at home, like what are kind of the imparting thoughts that you would give to these guys, who are eager to kind of learn more about tech and kind of up their game, or people to look at and to learn from, so they can really start taking tech, understanding it innately, so they can learn more tech, and then most importantly be able to apply this tech to get that edge on their opponents and to just grow in this game.
Easy. Just subscribe to VGBC. It'll solve all your problems in about a week, I think, if you digest all the content. So there you go. Easy.
Watch
all right,
every
wrap
VOD
it up
on our channel. Every single VOD.
Ooh,
yes, sir. I'm about that.
The instant
I will
power
say, I think we talked about it a bit here, but I think learning when and how to apply tech is just as important as having the muscle memory to do it, because you can end up tripping yourself up if you try to go for tech. You don't really know how to apply it, but it might look cool in this situation. So I think the first thing is, and I think honestly, just to summarize kind of what we all said, is make it second nature, make it muscle memory, make it so that you can hit it 95% of the time. That's probably the goal, maybe even more, honestly. And then know when to use it. Knowledge is power. You got to know how to use this tech. Yep. Otherwise, it's just there and you're kind of just showing it off, and like that's cool in its own way, but really using it that's some next level stuff.
Yeah, and kind of like to add on to that real quick. I know that we're trying to wrap up, but something that I think applies to what we were talking about is like, when you're not used to using it and you want to use it, you're only thinking about it. Mm-hmm. So, like, when we say apply it to your muscle memory, what we mean is, like, let's say you have let's just talk about the options like I talked about. Let's say, like, you have this up throw frame trap where you want to force them to air dodge. If you haven't applied it to your muscle memory, you'll be thinking about it. You need to grab them. Like, that's what's in your mind because you haven't applied it. Like, I need to grab them to get this. But when you've applied it to your muscle memory, you'll grab them and then you'll go do the tech. So
you tunnel vision
it's
it.
Like
you can
tunnel vision you don't tunnel, like when it's in your muscle memory, you don't tunnel vision it. Kind of like wobbling in melee. Like if it's so ingrained in your muscle memory that it's like your thing, you're not thinking constantly, I need to get the wobble. Play your game, and then you get the grab, and then it's time to wobble. And like that's really important because, some people can never break it. Some people can never break it, and that's why they can't do things like play characters with infinites, because they have trouble not just thinking about it all the time. Like, I need to get this. And part of the reason they're probably having trouble with it is that they haven't fully immersed it into their muscle memory and like practiced it enough outside of a competitive setting where it just clicks as soon as they need to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well said.
I'm also like looking forward to, I'm sure we'll cover this in a future episode, definitely, but like obviously Smash has like a lot of resources in general when it comes to like getting better and analysis and everything like that. And I'm just hoping that that stuff becomes even more accessible, like with like the training mode mods and stuff like that, and whether like Yuzu gets more optimized so people can like play online like even better and stuff like that. Because like what we've seen from like people like Zane with the help of like 20XX and all of their like Uncle Punch training pack and things like that, how accessible those tools are have like really busted open the game up even further, and it even after it's been like so long. So I'm really hoping that if you're definitely curious about like whether those resources are available to you, I would definitely do some more research about that and just try to see what's possible, and hopefully it becomes again more, those types of like tools become even more accessible in the future, and people can like again just start to like bust things open like full force again.
Just I think consume the content, right?
Yes, sir.
The next like 6 months, as like things open back up, I think people are really going to start getting passionate again and like start actually trying to learn all this stuff. So I'm really excited to see that. I actually have like, I haven't written it all. I have like 8 to 10 like tech vids I really want to do that are like all universal advanced techniques. So I'm kind of like waiting until like people are passionate about the game again.
Smart.
To drop it. So like that's something I want to do because I want to see if like I know we just talked about like a lot of people don't like to like they don't put in the effort to apply the tech, but I really think the pandemic has been a big part of that.
No one really wants to hit the train right now.
I gotta say, the Smash World Tour has revived a lot of passion in the scene, though. I know 3 commentators on this panel right now that are very excited to be commentating something with a lot of weight behind it. So that's been good. Truly. No bullshit.
Yeah, it's been hype.
It has. It really has.
It's been hype. Yeah, for real.
Also, it's cool to just like, if you're up like really late, like 1 or 2 a.m., whatever, and like you can still turn it on and see like, oh, they're playing in Australia right now. Sick, hype. Stuff like that.
It's really cool to be up at 5 a.m. and have to commentate.
It's really cool. You get up 5 a.m.
I was like, I don't think he shares that same enthusiasm, but
I had a blast. I truly had a blast.
The West Coasters as far in as I could. I had to bring it back to East Coast.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. I loved it, and honestly, I'd been to Australia before, so they were pumped that I could say the city names. Like, it was so funny interacting with chat during that top 8 because they were like, "Wait, you could say all this? Like, you know the city names? Like, how to say them?" As Americans always fuck them up because they look like something else, and like if you read them here.
Also, the Australian qualifiers viewership was like 4 to 5x higher than we projected. So it's really cool to see people. People just hype.
It was wild. Yeah, it was wild.
People on the line, right? So they're like,
dude, it went game 10 for the grand finals, dude. I was so tired. Like the sun was rising and shit. I was just like, oh my god, I'm so tired. This is great, but I'm exhausted. I slept till like 4 in the afternoon the next day. I was so tired.
I think there were 3-0 reverse. Like there were OCVs, I think. I can't remember. So it was like, all right, you get to go to bed. Nope.
Hooray. I know. You went up 2-0. I was like sick. Then the other guy won 1.
Yeah,
I was like,
got him, dude.
All right.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was really good.
I do agree. I do think a lot of people, because the people are getting vaccinated. So thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
And B, obviously, like we talked about, Smash World Tour has definitely reinvigorated the scene. Like I do agree. When you say GimR, I do think people are going to be more passionate coming out of the woodworks and really playing this game, and I'm just so excited for that. I think we're really going to see a discovery explosion in the game happen very soon, and I think that's just going to be because of all those factors, right? And because like I cannot stress this enough, this game has been changed with the patches, with everything going on so much for so many characters. And we have 4 characters. Like, characters that are actually relevant to the meta. Like, dude,
Steve is good. She's a real fucking deal.
And
are gonna come out.
Yeah, he has. This dude is trying to have more tech than Melee, dude. Like, it's crazy what Steve can do, man. Like, I'm
all 4
so
of them are really fucking good. All 4 of them are potentially top tier, honestly.
Yeah. It's nutty, dude, and I'm so hyped for it, man. Some characters got some needed buffs too during those patches as well. So I think people are gonna like realize, man, like what the heck? Now I'm getting hit. Like before, it was like the first time like when Ultimate is around, right? People get hit for like 1 to like 10%, and like people will get hyped, right? Oh my gosh, this guy did a up air and do like a F tilt or something ridiculous, right? And it's like I think it's gonna be like people are now gonna be like
That's Smash 4, dude.
Yeah, but dude, even in beginning Ultimate, I think you forgot, dude. People were actually just doing nonsense, like. It was terrible.
Strings.
Even basic stuff, I'm like, how'd you guys forget?
Meta Knight. We should still ban Meta Knight,
right? But then it's like now people are like at 0 to 40, 0 to 50. It's like, and then it's like you see some people right now in online, but people come back, dude. You're gonna see people just get freaking schmixed. Like I think it's gonna be insane. People are getting better at edge guarding, thank goodness. Like people are applying a bit more tech too. And again, I can't stress this enough. We're going to be offline, and it's like we got something that's weighted that stuff is going to be relevant. I do think that there's more people also kind of picking up some of the training mod stuff and the Yuzus and all these kind of things too. So I think we're just going to see an explosion, and it's going to be so good. It's going to be like a re-release of the game just to be back in the fold and be able to do these things. And I love it because I think this game, for all some of the grievances I have for it, I think it is an incredible game. I think it's an awesome game. I love it, and I really want to see people just push it to the max where it can be, because I think
awesome.
there's definitely depth that hasn't been searched. Yeah,
I just think the game looked so straightforward when it came out, but I think it actually doesn't play anything like normal Smash. So like there's options that you should be going for that don't seem right.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of explained it. I feel like this is like Super Street Fighter 4 Ultimate Edition. Like there's like actually like fighting game principles, like real fighting game principles in this game, and people don't do it because like they're used to it not working. Like for example, jumping in at someone and then going for a move that like is super laggy but it's a really good anti-air. It's just something you normally don't do in a Smash game because it's so risky. But people's offensive options are so good that you need to like tell them like you can't just come at me like that over and over again with the same option. I'm gonna do some crazy
jumping in general is so strong.
Yeah, that like doing like for example, Possible like Squirtle up beat me all the time. He'll be like, if I'm approaching the air way too much, he's like, Calvin, you gotta stop doing that.
I will.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, man. Like you'll be pressured in the corner, right? And you're like, well, I gotta jump out because like rolls have no invincibility, and it's like, nope.
Do you know how much fucking damage I've gotten on Elite Smash with Simon and Richter's up B? Do you know how much fucking... It does 17, first off. 17, almost 18. It's frame 6. Everyone jumps over the cross at you. Everyone jumps over the fucking cross. I just up B them over and over.
Everyone's a genius, dude.
Yep. And like technically that's super dangerous for you to do because if they just air dodged, they could punish you. But like...
Nobody's gonna do that.
Nobody jumps air dodges.
Everyone
wants to swing.
And what if you jump at you air dodge and you don't up B?
I'll jump in there.
And forward just forward smash them. If they jump in and just air dodge at you, that's why it's like it's risky.
No one's been brave enough to do it yet, honestly.
Yeah, they're not ready.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, and kind of coming back to
the next time we play.
Oh shit, that fox is gonna cook me. Kind of what Bam was saying too is not just the characters and the game changing, but there's players who literally have never gotten to experience an offline major. Like that hasn't happened for some of these players out there who are picking up the game of the pandemic. Like that's got to be a thing, right? Like, there's got to be players who are like, this is I'm bored in a pandemic. This seems like a cool scene. I'm going to start playing this game because Steve's in it, and I think Steve's cool. And then it's like, oh, who's this? Who's this player? Like, where the hell did they come from? What are they all about? And it's exciting for the scene in that way as well, in my opinion. And it's kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of before Ultimate came out, you know, people were getting the early copies. It's going to be like that, where it's like, who's still been playing offline? Like, who's been keeping it fresh, you know? Like, you see people still playing, like, the old school offline way, and then you see people going for the online tactics. It's like, all right, we're going to get a clear distinction here as to who's been doing what. Who's been playing offline? It's going to be a question.
There was like a 6-month period where me and Apostle played every day.
Yep.
And we were trying to, like, put all the option select tech in and stuff. I mean, I'm not great at the game, but like that was fun. Apostle's been like labbing training mode, with the training mode with Squirtle. Doing
that character's a demon. I don't care.
He was telling me, demon. Oh yeah, this character's ridiculous.
Street Fighter 4, baby. Like, don't shield against that forward till you're getting option selected.
That's Ramsey, dude. Ramsey started playing Squirtle more than motherfucker.
Squirtle's really good now. Tech. Matt's been giving him the option select tech.
Tell him to stop. It makes it not fun for me. He's a cook, Ramsey. Now he's got the Squirtle. It makes me so mad.
There's just so much. I don't want to get to it again. Yeah, I play Game Watch. Obviously, it's just he's such a boring character. I have trouble sticking to him. I don't want to play that character 4 hours in straight because all I do is nair. It's like, why not?
But like the why not option.
Even Game Watch got some.
Oh yeah, messed up options.
That's some insane options like that.
Yep. Up B out of shield. That's a good one.
Here's one. You ready? just take this home with you. Up smash someone's shield with Game Watch.
Down smash?
And then just jab, up B, jab. That's all you gotta do.
Jab, up B, jab.
Makes me so upset.
So if the jab hits, you're going to wrap it.
If that jab whiffs, you're up B.
Up B.
That's all I'm saying.
If it hits,
Lucario has that same one too. Lucario had that one with a force palm.
So basically, if you roll in, if you spot dodge, if you short hop, you're getting up B.
Yeah, like, a couple other characters can do that too. You can put it behind your second jab. It's super bomb. Like because you can check so many people, even dashes and stuff too. Like you just check them. Like, what's good? Oh, you try to escape? Hold this.
Can you do option select for Ken? That's my recommendation for your next video. I think that would do really well for you.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's an option select that works with everyone. For the first time in all of Smash history, shield stop is less than hit stop in Smash. So just consider what that means. for certain things that move really fast and are spammable.
I like these moves. I know these moves. I have 2 of them.
Might have some of these.
Just maybe.
But like you might not have to react to certain things.
I think I'm picking up.
GimR's next video.
Yep.
Why not option selects? Why not option selects, dude?
How about here's another one?
I got your title.
We have a way of storing attacks with our dash.
With because of hold buffer?
C dash. Think about that.
Oh, okay.
You're basically storing attacks that otherwise would come out if you didn't dash. Things like that.
Yeah. That's really good. I mean, just like the base concept of that, because that's like applicable to any character, right? So it's just like, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, like so, like remember the backdash option select I talked about? Like just imagine if it whiffs you backdash, but if it hits shield, you immediately do like a down tilt or something. It's like that because
it's very, very good.
And that I mean, like words. It isn't super applicable because like most moves in this game have so much shield stun that you can like react. Like you don't have to like use option selects, but you got moves like Palu forward air, Mario back air that are so safe that you can't react to whether they shielded them or not. So like
still Palu forward air.
Oh yeah. It's just like it has only like 3 frames. It's like 5 frames of shield stop. So you just like if they shield it, you can't react to it. It's like it's so quick. But
now what happens?
The safest moves in the games are like that.
So wait. What if Palu fair shield? You press backdash, but you also press grab. What happens? You would grab backwards, right? You would dash grab backwards. Like could you?
Yeah, I was talking about like
set up.
Like I don't know let's just take you a really good space forward air with Palu, and then you do a C dash backwards, like the one where you hit the C stick, so you like slide, you don't go into run. If the forward air whiffs, you just dash back, and if the forward air hits their shield, you'll immediately down tilt. Which like obviously with Palu might not be a great option, but that's the idea because you can't react.
A lot of top players do this one.
Yeah.
The aerial whiff and then dash back.
Yeah, you can see
it's really, really good.
Yeah. And you're like, man, they're just so smart.
Well, yeah, how are they reacting to it?
It's like blame the commentators for that one.
Yeah. Thanks, son. Welcome to the real world.
I mean, I hit up Leo. He definitely does it.
I guarantee.
Oh, dude, a bunch of them do. Like it's funny too because a lot of them they don't know
realize
like they don't know it's option select. Like they don't know like the term. But then it's just like, yeah, dude, I just do this, and it's like obviously if I whiff, it's a different window. Like they just understand that like there's 2 buffer windows essentially based on if you actually go into a hit pause or a shield pause or not. All right, so
I don't even know.
They're just they're just like, dude, that is it makes sense intuitively, which is cool too. I really love that, and I just think that it would be great for people who are not in the know just to understand like, hey, these things are actually happening. Like these tech are much more common than you think.
Yeah.
It's not just these guys
they're
like
not as big brain as you think.
Yeah, or it's not as
brainiac, like, you know,
or it's not as unnatural, or it's not as unnatural as you think. Like with Melee, the game, it's actually the opposite, where it feels clunky as fuck if you're not doing the tech. Like it feels the opposite. Like it feels weird without the tech, and then when you do the tech, you're like the game opens up. Yeah. I think that kind of applies to most games. It just makes things move faster and smoother for the most part.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Getting people to that like FGC Jedi state takes a lot, but like once you're there, it's not easy. Oh yeah, I just do this. I'm just pressing buttons. It works.
I think a big problem with it is also Smash's training mode is so historically terrible.
True.
Yeah.
It's not encouraged in the base game.
All fighting game players are lab monsters because they have a training mode that actually like lets them practice things.
Yeah,
true. Actually,
yep, that goes along.
That's a really good point. Dummy to block, get hit or get counter hit, and you can literally like within 30 minutes get base muscle memory for hit confirming, off blocking, hitting, counter. You can't even do that.
Yeah,
I will like that in Smash.
I will always say that. Like we talk about the longevity and the constant evolution of Melee, right? But I will always say, like, I truly believe that would have been like obviously expedited, right? If we just had an actual training mode, like if we had like, it's just hard for us to get to the end game in Smash because of just our tools. Like, dude, we have a plastic spork, right? trying to dig,
but it's a very
right?
popular plastic spork.
Yes,
everybody loves this plastic spork.
It is a beautiful plastic spork, the most beautiful plastic spork I've seen. But it's a plastic spork, and it can't do shit when it comes down to digging for depth, right? So like, and that's the problem, right? So it's like it's crazy sometimes. Like you see the game so far, and I think Ultimate. That's the thing that initially kind of worried me about Ultimate, because I'm like, dude, this game's gonna have some depth, but my gosh, there's so many characters, so many things here. It's going to take people a long time because our training mode is still trash, right? So
at least they got the frame advance right this time.
At least, man.
Remember Smash 4 with like you get like 2 frames.
It was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, yeah, it was so bad, man. But yeah,
it was so promising when we saw the grids too. When they were like, "Oh, dude, new training mode with the launch angles," I was like, "No way, no way! This is literally everything."
I have a question for you guys. Do you guys actually practice in the training mode in Ultimate?
Yeah. Not in any special one. The base
so
one I do.
Big that I'm just like, I don't even know why I'm here. I'm going back to FD or something.
FD, yeah. The thing is,
actual stage. Yeah,
I could like actually reset myself into the battlefield on the training mode.
I like having the extra space because I like carrying them across the stage. Yeah,
every time
they should start you on the battlefield part of the training mode, or they should give you. Yeah, they should let you choose, but
yeah, it's kind of funny that they have it like, oh, it's just way over there. Can you just knock that dude ping pong him over? Like,
well, this is we've even come a long way from. Remember the N64 training mode where you couldn't even set their percentage? Like that just what could you do it in Melee? I don't think you could you?
You could set the percentage.
You could set the computer, or you could set the opponent. Yeah, okay, you couldn't in N64 because I remember using the fan to knock the opponent to a certain percentage that I wanted to get them there, and then be like, does this work or whatever? So. But this is the best training mode we've ever had, which is a little sad, but it is what it is.
Very, very sad. But yeah, thank goodness for the people doing God's work, man, as far as like training mods and all kind of stuff too, because as that stuff does get more popularized, obviously, you know, Big N is a little scared about that stuff and everything like that. We'll see. But truth is, it's like, dude, it's dope that we have these opportunities for people to learn and just get better and improve and really push the game meta like forward, right? And then it's like
top players that haven't gotten that yet.
Yeah,
it's like this is your job.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Yeah.
Do that.
I'm just gonna say, like me and Void. Like Void, he's not gonna he hasn't released it yet, but like he literally just found so much stuff. Like me and him were just sitting down and we're like, try this. Oh, what about that? And it's just like after like an hour or two, I was literally just looking at the screen. He was just like, dude, I figured it all out. And I was just like, oh my god, he's killing people with Mithra 50. Like
because
like,
I think to practice.
Well, I mean, it started with the mod pack. You know what I mean? Like he's because you can break down everything.
It's a necessity.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so where do they go DI in? Where do they go DI out? Like, and me and him would do this in Smash 4, and like I would just like be the other person, and like you know what I mean, and like would figure.
You were the training pack,
right? I was a training pack, but this makes it so you can just do it by yourself. You know what I mean? Like that is amazing. So I don't know. It's actually it's super important. Just for the game growth.
Too. So,
yes. Yeah, we're definitely.
I gave my little brother Luke. I said, "Come in here."
I
would do it frame by frame to make sure it worked, and then I was like, "Time to record." Come in. It was so.
Yeah,
Luke, the training mod pack. Get in here, Luke.
Yep. Luke 1.0, dude.
So my videos, I number it. Like I watch the video before I add the clips, and then I decide what clips to put in. I write down everything I want to record. So he'll just come in and he'll look at the list. Like 50.
Get to work. Get to work, Luke 1.0. I don't have time.
Hold left. All right, mash air dodge.
Seriously.
Yeah, basically.
Oh man.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah, but I was gonna say I think that wraps it up, man. Pretty much for this, dude. I feel like we could go on this topic for quite some time, man.
Dangerous with this group here for
yes,
sure.
but in a good way, man. In a good way.
Yeah.
But just obviously been a damn great one. It's been amazing as always talking with all you gents, especially GimR having you on, man. We hope to have you on more in the future for sure. Definitely good conversations that are very much needed in the community, and I'm so excited, man, to see what happens next with this game. I really think we're gonna see it go to the next level, and we're just gonna see like some insane, ridiculous moments, dude. Like this game has some juice, man. Like I know people like it doesn't have the melee stuff, or like maybe some like just pound for pound tech as like maybe Brawl or Smash 4 or whatever it be, but like there's some hella good stuff in this game. And to GimR's point,
I'll say what Apostle says
go ahead.
all the time. Apostle says we need people like Melee has that are really excited about the game and that like to talk about how excited they are. I think there's a lot of those people, and I think they're afraid to speak up on Twitter and stuff because like it's not the cool thing to talk about how awesome the game is. But we need like the people.
It's a culture change, dude.
It is.
It is about it. Talk about it, because like I could list 800 things I hate about Melee, right? Still a godlike game, but like it's just things that are obvious wrong with it. But I don't focus on it, right? You gotta focus on
the good outweighs the bad by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that too. Like you guys are forgetting a game we used to play.
Yeah, dude. People. I
which
love
name it?
Smash 4, but like
Smash 4.
I feel like people like the way that people think about these games, man. Dude, it's Stockholm syndrome, bro. It's wild.
The nostalgia for Smash 4 hurts me. It hurts me so bad. I'm like, you all. There were 4 people going to fucking locals right before Ultimate came out. Before it was announced, there was nobody showing up to locals anyway. Shut up. That shit is so fucking fake.
Yeah, and I don't hate Smash 4.
I still love Smash 4.
But when you compare it and see how Ultimate gets more people complaining about it than Smash 4 did, I just think it's hilarious.
I think it just always happens though, because the Brawl crowd did the same thing when we went to 4. They're like, this game sucks. It's like, does it really? Because like I think where we came from was so much tougher to work with. Especially Smash 4, it was so experimental when it came to DLC, and they really kind of fucked it up at the end. You know what I mean? Like there were 3 characters there at the end that really fucked the meta up in a big way. And I think if we kept playing it without any more balance patches, the game would have gone down a terrible path.
In Ultimate, they figured out how to like add a new crazy character without a really good game.
They did. They really, you can see it.
You can see it.
I'm scared.
In the move.
I'm scared. I don't know.
I don't know, but I think the one really
Min and Steve. I don't know. I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
Steve, I agree with you on Min.
Yes,
I think she's stupid, but like, I feel like anytime they have a stupid character and they give them a bad recovery, it just removes all the positives.
Mm-hmm.
It's Pyra and Mithra though.
I agree. I thought Pyra and Mithra were going to be broken, but then I saw how exploitable the recovery are. I'm like, maybe not.
Dude,
any character
that's the thing.
I mean, they're still definitely broken. I still think they're contention.
I think so too. In the game. I think so too.
I think so. But I do think that recovery is a big thing for sure.
That's what they did with Cloud. They were like, we want him to be such a baller when you play as him and you feel godlike, but he doesn't have good recovery. Like, and that's it.
But then they removed like everything good about him, too.
Yeah.
That also didn't help, yeah.
And it's like
Cloud got jammed.
He did.
He still did.
He's still pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's gonna be pretty much it from us. If you guys like the content, you guys like these podcasts, make sure to like and subscribe and ring that bell. And of course, check out GimR's channel as well. He's been doing this for a very, very long time. Just a lot of tech videos, and even like all the tournament VODs you guys have been checking out throughout your life, probably VGBC. So make sure to check VGBC out and all of other GimR's channel. I don't know if you want to do like a shout out to all your channels, GimR.
Oh yeah, sure. Just youtube.com/GimR and youtube.com/VGBootcamp.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well,
easy.
Peace out.
All right, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Gims. See you guys later.
Later.